Hello everyone, welcome to Chess Vibes. So today's game is between Mikhail Tal versus Vasily Smyslov. Mikhail Tal is white and Vasily Smyslov is black. So let's start the game. So Mikhail Tal started with e4, c5, knight f3, d6, d4, c into d4, knight into d4, knight to f6, knight to c3. Sicilian defense. e6, bishop to e2, a6, castle, knight to d7, f4. So white's plan is to that after bishop e7 castle, white will go queen e1, f5, queen g3, and launch a deadly attack on black. So black played b5, trying to play d4 and threaten the e4 pawn. So bishop f3, protecting the e4 pawn and also threatening e5 in the future and threatening the rook as well as knight. Bishop b7, a3, queen to c7, queen e1, planning to play queen to g3, bishop e7, king h1. King h1 is a very nice move. I liked it because king is moving from the dark square, which which he can have problem in the future. So he saved it now by playing king h1, rook to b8, b3, preparing for bishop to b2, bishop b2, rook to e8. So black managed to play bishop f8 and e5 before white plays f5, queen g3, putting pieces on the king side to attack bishop f8, rook ae1, and now e5, knight to f5. So what is the plan of knight to f5? White is trying to play knight to f6 check. Pawn cannot take because pawn is pinned. The fourth move is to king h8. And now knight will take the pawn on f7. For example, if white played a5, the knight h6 check, king h8, and knight into f7, and white is completely better in this position. So after knight to f5, black moved his king to h8, queen to h4, e into f4, queen into f4, knight to e5, rook to e3. The idea of rook to e3 is that Mikhail Tal will move his bishop to e2 or even d1 and put his rook to g3 or h3 and launch attack. So g6 attacking the knight, knight to h6, bishop to g7, knight to d5. The plan of knight to d5 that now you can see bishop is targeting these dark square weaknesses, and even the knight is also pretty strong in this position. Now the white plan is to take on f6. After bishop into f6, queen into f6, and white would be a piece plus. So knight into d5, e into d5, and now you can see the e5 knight is having a lot of pressure. The rook is attacking, the queen is attacking, even the bishop is attacking. So black played f6, protecting the knight. Bishop to e4. The plan of bishop to e4 is of two motives, cause that the white could play rook h3 or even rook g3, and in the future he could sacrifice the bishop on g6. So g5, queen to f5, threatening a mate on h7. So black simply took the knight on h6, getting a piece plus and also protecting the h7 pawn. Queen into f6 check, bishop to g7, queen to f5, re-threatening the mate on h7, knight to g6, rook to h3. The plan of rook to h3 is that white wants to take the knight on g6. Pawn cannot take because the pawn is pinned. Bishop into b2, capturing the bishop. Queen into g6, rook to e7, rook to h6, threatening the pawn on d6, rook to g8, because I moved the queen to f5, not capturing the pawn. So bishop to c8, threatening the queen, queen to f3, g4. The plan of g4 is that also threatening the queen, and another move he could play g3 in the future. So queen to d3. Maybe his plan is to threat the h7 pawn. So bishop to e5, c4, b into c4, b into c4, And the white idea is to push his pawn. After pawn takes, pawn push would be a very strong move. So rook to g7. Black is trying for g3, c5. So d into c5, d6, queen to a7, bishop to d5, rook to d8, threatening the pawn on d6, double attack, bishop and rook also. So queen to e4, threatening the bishop, bishop to d4, queen to f4, and rook to d7. And here guys, free for pause the video and find the best move for white. For those who have found the right move, congratulations. This was the only winning move. Every all move, draw or lose the game. The right move is rook to f6. What's the plan of rook to f6? The threat of rook to f6 is that white wants to give check on f8. Like for example, let's play rook to g7. Then rook f8 check. If rook takes on f8, queen takes on f8 check, rook g8 is forced, and queen to g8 is a checkmate. So it can be possible. So after rook f8, let's see rook to g8. After rook to g8, bishop into g8, rook into f8, queen into f8, and you can see guys, white is just an exchange plus. Pawn is very strong, king is very weak. Bishop f7 is just checkmate. So rook g7 doesn't seem to be like move. So let's see bishop into f6. Bishop into f6, queen into f6. Rook g7 is forced. Queen into d8 check. Rook g8 is forced, and queen to g8 checkmate. Guys, after rook to f6, Vasily resigned the game and Mikhail Tal won the game. So very nice play by both the players. We really enjoyed this game. The best black could simply continue with queen to d7 and black would be better in this position, but Vasily made a mistake by playing rook to d7, which was a very terrible blunder, and Mikhail Tal didn't lose his chance and played rook to f6 and won the game. So guys, if you liked my video, then please like, share, subscribe, and thank you for watching.